everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we're going to learn how to create Flowlu contact on Gravity Forms submission. So I am an owner of a real estate agency, and using Gravity Forms, I have created a form with the help of which I collect my leads data, and this form is embedded on my website. And with the help of Flowlu, I manage all my new leads data. Here what I want is that as soon as by the potential customers or clients, a new form submission is going to be done using Gravity Forms, I want to create that lead as a contact in my Flowlu account. Now creating these contacts manually is very time consuming. So what I've done is I've simply automated this entire process with the help of Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. And here in this automation, I'm going to build the connection between Gravity Forms and Flowlu with the help of it. So if you also want to learn about this amazing automation process step by step, for that let me take you to my screen. In this video, we're going to learn how to create Flowlu contact from Gravity Forms submission. So as an owner of a real estate agency, I use Gravity Forms to collect property inquiries from potential clients on my website. And I use Flowlu to manage my leads, track interactions, and ensure timely follow-ups. With this automation, whenever a client submits a form with the help of the form that I've created using Gravity Forms, their details should be instantly added as a contact in my Flowlu account. This allows me to organize leads efficiently, track client interactions, and respond quickly with personalized property recommendations. And I'm going to create this amazing automation between Gravity and Flowlu with the help of Pabbly Connect. So on the screen, you can see the website of Pabbly Connect, that is pabbly.com/connect. After browsing this website, we need to sign into our Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. So as I'm an existing user, I'm going to sign into my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the all Pabbly apps in front of you, in which you can see all the products that Pabbly provides, from which we are going to select Pabbly Connect by clicking on this Access Now button right here. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. In order to start an automation process in Pabbly Connect, we need to create a workflow. For that, click on this top right corner button right here that says Create Workflow. A dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the workflow name and for us to select a folder. So on the workflow name field over here, I'm going to give the name to my workflow as Create Flowlu Contact on Gravity Forms Submission. So this is the name that I want to give to my workflow, okay? After that, it is asking for us to select a folder. So on the left side of my screen, you can see I've created multiple folders in my Pabbly Connect account, from which I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save this workflow in. For that, click on this drop down. These are the folders from which I'm going to select Gravity Forms Automations as the folder I want to save this workflow in. After giving the name to the workflow and selecting the folder, I'm going to click on this Create button in order to create a workflow. A workflow is created in the name of Create Flowlu Contact on Gravity Forms Submissions, and you can see that there are two windows in front of you. One over here says Trigger, other says Action. So what is Trigger and Action? Trigger and Action are the two most important steps of our automation process, because our process depends on these two principles. Over here, Trigger says when this happens, and Action says do this. That means what is Action? Action is a response towards our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step but multiple action steps. We are going to set up our trigger step first. And for the trigger application over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as Gravity Forms. As with the help of Gravity Forms, I have created a form with the help of which I collect my leads data. And this form is embedded on my website. I want that as soon as by the potential customers or clients, a new form submission is going to be done using Gravity Forms, I want the trigger over here should capture the response of the form submission. That is why for my trigger application, I've selected it as Gravity Forms. And for the trigger event over here, I'm going to select it as New Response. After selecting the trigger application and the event, you can see that Pabbly Connect has provided us with a webhook URL. Now using this unique webhook URL, we are going to build the connection between Gravity Forms and Pabbly Connect by following the steps given here below in the help desk. So firstly, I'm going to copy this URL from here. After copying the URL, log into your Gravity account and open the form that you have created using Gravity Forms, okay? After opening the form over here, what we have to do is we have to click on the settings of this form over here. And from the drop down, what you have to do is you have to select an option webhooks right over here, okay? After selecting the option webhooks, we are going to add a new webhook. For that, click on this add new button right over here. As you're going to do that, it is asking for the webhook name. So for the webhook name over here, I'm going to write it as New form submission. This is the webhook name. For the URL, I'm going to paste the webhook URL that Pabbly Connect has provided us. For the request method, I'm going to select class post, request format as JSON right over here. It is asking for the headers. I do not want this field, so I'm going to skip the part. For the request body, I'm going to select as all fields right here. And then it is asking for webhook condition. I do not have the condition, so I'm going to skip the part. And simply, I'm going to click on the save button right over here to save the webhook. As I've done that, it says settings updated. As now this webhook URL is successfully added to my form that I've created using Gravity, I'm going to go back to my form that I've created. So this is the form right over here. If I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down, it is saying waiting for webhook response. So now to check whether Gravity forms is successfully connected to Pabbly Connect or not, what we are going to do is, we are going to do the test submission of this form that we have created. And after doing the test submission, we're going to check whether Pabbly Connect captures the response of the test submission being done or not. So now let us do the test submission. So this is the form right over here. And to do the test submission, I'm going to click on this preview button over here. So this is the preview of this form you can see right over here, and let us do the test submission over here. It is asking for my lead's first name. So the first name over here, I'm going to write it as new. For the last name over here, I'm going to write it as lead44. For the address over here, I'm going to write the address as 123 New Town. It is asking for the second address line, which I do not have, so I'm going to skip the part. For the city over here, I'm going to write it as Bhopal, and for the zip code over here, I'm going to enter a dummy zip code right here, okay? Next over here, it is asking for the email address. So for the email address over here, I'm going to write it as newlead44@pabblytudes.com, and for the phone number over here, I'm going to write in a dummy mobile number right here, okay? For the property type, I'm going to select as residential property. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on this submit button right here. It says thanks for testing our form. As now the test submission is done, I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down, and yes, you can see over here the response of the form submission has been captured in our trigger in our workflow. For the mobile number, this is dummy mobile number. Email is newlead44@pabblytudes.com. Status comes over here as active. If I'm going to further scroll down, over here you can see the property type is residential property. If I'm going to further scroll down, city comes as Bhopal. This is the pin code you can see right over here. It is the address 123 New Town. First name is new, last name is lead44. As now the response of the form submission has been captured in our trigger, this means that Gravity Forms has now been successfully connected to Pabbly Connect and our trigger setup is done. After setting up our trigger step, we need to set up our action step. My objective is that as soon as by the lead of form submission is going to be done using Gravity Forms, I want to create that lead as a contact in my Flowlu account. Now for that, we're going to set up our action step. And for the action application over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as Flowlu right over here. And for the action event, I'm going to select it as create CRM account contact, and then I'm going to click on this connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you, on which click on add new connection, or else you can select the existing connection that you have. After that, it is asking for the API key, the account URL. So for the API key, what you have to do is you have to follow the steps given here below in the help desk. Firstly, log into your Flowlu account. After logging into your Flowlu account, what you have to do is you have to go to your profile section right over here, and from the drop down, go to portal settings option right here. After coming to portal settings, what we have to do is from the left side of the panel, go to the API settings over here. As you go to land towards the API settings, click on this add button to create a new key. Give a name to the key, so I'm going to give the name over here as new contact. This is the name of the key, and the application is CRM over here, and then I'm going to click on this save button right here. This is the key over here. I'm going to copy this key from here and paste this API key right over here. It is asking for the account URL next. Log into your Flowlu account again, and now in the URL over here, this is the account URL, so I'm going to copy this URL till .com over here and paste this URL right over here. I'm going to remove the slash from the end. So this is the account URL. After entering the API key and the URL, I'm going to click on this save button to create the connection between Flowlu and Pabbly Connect. As I've done that, you can see Flowlu has now been connected to Pabbly Connect. Now it is asking for the title ID first. I do not have the title ID, so I don't want this required field. So to remove this data from here, toggle this map button on and remove this existing data from here, okay? So in this way, you can remove the title ID. After that, it is asking for the first name, last name, and all the other details, with the help of which we are going to create a new contact in our Flowlu account. So for the data of these fields, what we are going to do is we are going to map the data. What is mapping? Mapping means inserting data from the previous step. So we're going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. And how it works is that as soon as I'm going to click on this field, this was the previous step. As I'm going to click on it, this is the same response that was captured in our previous step in which we have received the leads data. And I'm going to create the same lead as a contact in my Flowlu account. So with the data of this first name of my lead over here, I've received the first name of my lead in my previous response. And I want to create the same lead as a contact. So I'm going to select the data of the first name of my lead from my previous response. As I've selected the data from my previous response, the data is mapped. And as I've mapped the data has now become dynamic. That means now whenever a new response is going to be captured in our previous step, automatically the new data is going to be updated in place of this mapped data. Similarly, for the last name over here, I'm going to map the data of the last name that I've received. For the email address over here, I'm going to map the data of the email address that I've received right here. It is asking for the description. In place of description, I'm going to write it as property type. Now for the property type, I'm going to map the data of the property type that I've received right over here, which is residential property. Okay, it is asking for the category. I'm going to select the category over here as qualified lead. Okay, next it is asking for the industry. I do not have the field, so I'm going to skip the part. For that, I'm going to toggle this button on and remove this existing data from here for the industry field. Okay, after that, it is asking for the address. We have received the address over here, so I'm going to map the data of the address that I've received right here. It is asking for the phone number, so I'm going to map the data of the phone number right over here. Next, I'm going to skip the part as I do not require all these fields right here. Okay, it is asking for all these details, so I'm going to simply skip the part right over here. For the shipping country, I have not received the country data, so I'm going to skip the part. It is asking for the city. I have received the city data, so I'm going to map the data of the city data right over here. And for the zip code, I'm going to map the data of zip code that I've received right over here. I'm going to map the data. Okay, it is asking for the address line, so I'm going to map the data of the address line that I've received right over here. So this is the address. I'm going to map the data. It is asking for the country, state over here. I'm going to skip the part. For the city over here, I'm going to map the data of the city that I've received right here. So this is the data. I'm going to map it. For the zip code over here, I'm going to map the data of the zip code that I've received right here. Okay. After that, it is asking for all these details, which I'm going to skip the part. For the address, I'm going to map the data of the address that I've received right here. This is the data. I'm going to map it. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on this Save and Send Test Request button right here. As we have done that, we have received a response, which is a positive response. So now I'm going to open my Flowlu account. This is the contacts page of my Flowlu account. I'm going to refresh this page from here. As I refresh the page, you can see a new contact has been added in my Flowlu account. Let us tally the response of the contact that we have created. The name comes over here as newlead44. Email comes as newlead44@pabblytudes.com with a dummy mobile number. If I'm going to go to this other details over here, you can see this is the first name new, last name is lead44. Over here the type is contact, the address is 123 New Town Bhopal with a dummy postal code. You can see right over here. The category comes over here as qualified lead. You can see right over here with all the other details. So as now a new contact has been successfully created in my Flowlu account, this means that we have successfully created an automation between Gravity Forms and Flowlu with the help of Pabbly Connect. So now to sum till now what we have done, I am an owner of a real estate agency and using Gravity Forms I have created a form with the help of which I collect my leads data, and using Flowlu I manage all my leads. Over here for the trigger I've selected as Gravity Form new response, as whenever by the lead a new form submission is going to be done using Gravity Forms, over here the trigger is going to capture the response of that. For the action I've selected as Flowlu create CRM account contact. Now this lead that has done the form submission and the response is captured. Using the leads details, a contact is automatically going to be created in my Flowlu account using this action step. And with Pabbly Connect, I've built a connection between these two applications in this manner. So this was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.
Not just with these applications, you can create automation between multiple other applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. If you have any questions, you can contact us on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can check the queries on forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, then you can check out this link. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment on if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video.